my first search, I'm curious what yours would be.
New thing, you could go on the internet, suddenly everything is all Google.
Did this also lead to the rise of backlinks?
SEO was honestly discovered in 1997.
If Google isn't staying on top of their game, someone else will come around.
When you make a blog is in that coveted spot, you did your job correctly.
So you get everything in one page.
Some people say GEO is SEO evolved.
It's a scary shift, honestly.
Welcome back to another edition of GetWyse, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Christopher Smith. Got DJ Kennedy, of course, the CEO, the brains behind the operation, and we have a great episode for you guys today. Our special guest, Ricky, SEO extraordinaire specialist. How are you doing today, Ricky?
I'm doing good. I'm a little nervous because I did watch the last podcast and there was ageism involved. So leave me alone. You have your target. Go for him.
I don't want HR getting involved or something like that. So, let me leave the age comments alone. My bad.
We'll throw the technical stuff all at him.
Yeah.
Let's be fair and spread it out.
I mean, we're about to talk about like the history of some things. So this is kind of off my plate, like this is where I kind of lack the insight, but all things SEO, the rise from SEO and a transition to GEO. And I think everybody for the most part has a rough idea of what SEO is, but GEO is kind of a new thing, right? But that all starts somewhere. So why don't we jump right into it? What were like the early days of SEO, Like how did that come to be even?
From my memory, like I remember logging on, finding all these different, I wouldn't even call them search engines, but directories. You could find a million directories for like tons of topics. And for me, my first search, which I'm curious what yours would be. Mine was Survivor. I was really into Survivor. I was into early reality TV. And I wanted to find a way to play online Survivor on the internet. So I found a reality TV top 50 directory. And for me, that's where I would find all my content. You can find like your Pokemon stuff. I was looking up Pokemon. I was looking up Survivor. So I remember early days being directories, which were managed by people. It wasn't necessarily AI yet. Machine learning was not completely involved. It's mostly organization. But how was it for you?
You're aging yourself here. I didn't even think you'd go back that far.
He said it, not me.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I don't know. I maybe shouldn't have started the podcast off this way.
No, it's fine.
Actually, the first time I had even heard of a search engine, just rejogging my memory here, I was up living in Brampton at the time. That's where I grew up.
Flower City.
And I remember going to it wasn't a, it was called Jumbo Video. And the guy behind that was renting out the videos was a guy I talked to a lot. And he told me about this new thing you could go on the internet called Yahoo. This was probably like the mid to late 90s.
Okay.
And that's when I went home after that. I don't remember what movie I watched, but I went and checked out this yahoo.com. And that was my first introduction into search engines. And then, of course, maybe a couple of years later, suddenly everything was all Google. But that was, Yahoo was a bit of a search engine and a news, and you could learn a lot about news in Yahoo.
So like these times you guys are describing, Google wasn't yet like kind of the main go-to when it came to these directories, and it wasn't even search engines.
With Google, I kind of look at it as the early forms of search engines were like, let's do a Marvel reference, like Jarvis. And then Google slowly became like the Ultron. I don't know if that's a good thing to say, but like maybe Vision. But like there's a lot of improvements and a lot of change. Google like upped the game very quickly, changed like immediately. Yeah, everything.
I like the Vision. I hope it's Vision. I hope Google is Vision, not Ultron.
It might be Ultron, but it's okay.
and let's not forget the reason why people they offered the best results. So Google was always about giving the best results possible. Yahoo wasn't quite keeping up, so that's where everybody went. And it's we've talked about this already. The internet is the medium, and then just where are we going to go and get what we need? And Google offered it the best, and they took off starting around 2000 for sure.
That's kind of the inception, I feel like, for my internet days and habits too. I remember Yahoo, Ask Jeeves, all those different directories, but I remember my first search was, there's a Canadian cartoon network show called YTV in Canada, and they had a website that had little flash games and mini games that you could play on the website. And I remember that being the very first time I typed something in and searched it up, and the internet, wow, but industrial revolution type impact that those types of things have. So let's kind of bring it back to where it started. who invented SEO? Like, how did it really point A to B come to be?
I don't think SEO was invented per se. I think search engines were. And I believe like a lot of people decided, how can we hack the search engines to get the best results? A search engine was actually, I believe, and if you know better, correct me, I think search engines were created by a man in Montreal. I think it's Canadian made. I remember that the first search engine, it was either Web Crawler or Archie, which Archie is Archie without a V because it meant archive. It's a new way of putting it. And later they ironically made the next versions Jughead and Veronica. And these were more of FTP search engines that really didn't have much value for the like general public. But yeah, like Canadian made search engines was where this all began.
We're talking laboratory stuff. You're mixing potions, right?
Yeah.
When did it become important for business SEO? Again, probably around 2000. People would stop going to the phone book, Yellow Pages. Suddenly there's now searching. And I really even like, I've been doing this since 2001, and Yahoo was something you would talk about a little bit, but where were people going? It was Google.
Yeah.
And they kind of mastered it for the, commercial purposes. That's where people went. But
Google definitely went down that path.
Oh, for sure. And it's always been that until, of course, social media started kicking in, and it's about screen saturation, but it's still, even to this day, not as much. It's like we used to do a blog every month called Search Engine Market Share. Google accounted for over 90% for 15, 20 years. Even the number 2 search engine for the longest time was actually YouTube.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah.
Owned by Google, right? But obviously social media, Meta, and all these different areas now, people are becoming a little bit more clouded. But the foundations, I haven't heard Jughead in forever.
Yeah, no.
Good for you for bringing that up.
It's scary. I know that.
Also, just this reminded me of like a little fact that I had to go Google while you guys were talking about too. And I just think it's a little relevant because we just had the Super Bowl, but the actress musician famously known as Jennifer Lopez, she wore a revealing green Versace dress to the 2000 Grammys, resulting in the most popular search query we've ever seen. The ex-Google CEO said. So J-Lo kind of had, a hand in, this boom that you said happened right around 2000, right?
Interesting.
I always felt that.
That's true too. I remember that. Yeah.
You did mention SEO. I can definitely confirm that was not a concept at all when I started. That started kicking in 2003, 2004. You started hearing about the SEO word. And I think it really just started from mostly businesses wanting, suddenly, oh, wow, I can't just go to the phone book anymore. Now, okay, who knows more about this? We need to trust somebody that can actually be our advocate and make sure that we're showing up. And up until 2010, I'm going to say, we were still trying to convince people why you need SEO, business owners, rather than it's not just a fad. It's going to be here for the long haul.
Did this also lead to the rise of backlinks as well?
Eventually, like SEO was honestly discovered in 1997. It was another marketing company. It was a marketing company, not a digital marketing company. They decided that you can utilize internet marketing, which is you were only 3 years behind that. That's pioneer. TechWyse was pioneering it alongside this American company. Backlinks came with Google, and that was just a good way of figuring out how to do page rank. They needed components to it. So what's on your website? Who's going to your website? Who is giving you authority by also linking to your website? So backlinks came into play because they needed a way to say this page matters. Why people are coming to it, yes, with traffic, but other pages are saying this page is good too.
Yeah, it's like an election. That's what differentiated Google with everyone else, was what they called page rank. And what they're saying is, hey, we're going to rate every single website out there. And if one website that we hold in high esteem is linking to another one, then the authority of that page is raised as well. Do you ever remember the days where there was a little on your Chrome browser where there was a page rank where every page you'd have it be like from 0 to 10?
Yes, I do.
A
Yeah,
little
I do
green
remember
meter.
that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you had a 5 or 6, if you had a 6 page rank, you were a bomb. Like you felt, we didn't know what that did for you, but Google's giving you a 6. 7, forget about it. You couldn't even get there unless you were an informational website.
Google just changed the game because everything you know about SEO back in the day is now considered not allowed, black hat. Like websites used to be all keyword stuffing. You had less competition, so you didn't really necessarily have to compete against many people. And even saying that, like you were allowed to like have hidden text on your page to kind of like get the attention of what you wanted and then do a bait and switch. Like people
could game the system really.
They were gaming it from the beginning. And there wasn't that many businesses on it at first. So there's just people with communities. Like, I don't know if anyone remembers IRC chats, but like every website, every community had an IRC chat, which is like a weird thing that has gone away. I think Discord has replaced that in new time. But just the internet was such a different place back then. And now has changed so drastically different with the revolution of like a smartphone, really. And
Google algorithm updates in that, right? Like that's kind of one of the bigger major shifts in SEO practices.
Yeah, no. Google, the Panda, for example, Penguin, Hummingbird. Panda told us that you needed to have good content.
Florida,
yeah.
Quality content,
yeah, quality,
right?
No, actual quality content. And then Penguin was more so about the off page. Like, again, who's linking to you. They wanted you to have quality now backlinks, not just a backlink that's relevant to your niche. This website actually connects to this website. And then Hummingbird was about user intent. They finally decided to care, like, what is the user typing in to get to you and why? What's the connection here? And traffic as well. Those 3 pillars were the strongest. That happened in 2011, 2012, 2013. And it changed the game for digital marketing. I mean, in our office, we have 2 rooms named after Panda and Penguin. I don't know where Hummingbird is. Maybe it's tweet behind me, but like they were also important. They changed the game.
Absolutely. I mean, and let's be clear, it's, again, all Google wants is to give its users the best search result possible. That's their algorithm has tightened up over the years. There was a time in our company, we started in 2001. There was never really keyword stuffing was just ending or putting black text on a black background and all that stuff. But there was a time, you could type the word Toronto into Google and TechWyse would be ranked on the first page. I'm not sure how meaningful that was, but that's how much they've tightened their algorithm. And really, we are their audience. If Google isn't staying on top of their game, someone else will come around. And arguably AI could impact SEO quite a bit, and that's kind of why we're sitting here.
Oh yeah.
And
it's a scary shift, honestly. Like it's exciting because accessibility and getting to the answers you want easier is the goal. But then it's like, how does this change SEO? How does this change digital marketing? And is it a hurdle or is it something to be super excited about? And I think it's both. For us as an industry, might be challenging, keeps us on our toes. But for the general public and just the world, like the way we get information now is improving drastically.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I mean, it impacts you individually too, right? Like from just your SEO practice and like what you do for clients. So, transitioning more into modern day right now, we do have AI. Like let's even start it like on a base level. Like what does SEO look like for your everyday role here at TechWyse?
For me, SEO is influenced a lot by AI right now because a lot of people are using it. So you have to find the happy medium of how AI impacts your day. For me, AI is an assistant. It's not a replacement. For other people, other websites, they're using AI and AI is repetitive right now. You go on ChatGPT, you ask it for some prompts. You're not the only one asking these prompts. So you have all these companies and all these websites using and utilizing ChatGPT, DeepSeek, other Gemini, and they're getting similar results now. It's no longer unique. It's no longer that it was supposed to be original. Now it's no longer.
Given the topic here, we may want to just discuss what the difference, or even what SEO, search engine optimization, and GEO, the difference.
Okay. So more recently, search engine optimization, that's what we've all grown to understand.
Yeah.
What we're now learning is generative engine optimization, which is the collaboration of SEO among a plethora of websites. So the one thing we're experiencing right now beyond ChatGPT and all the platforms you can use for AI is Google is giving us the Google AI overview. So in place of a featured snippet, so just what
that's like when you Google something like a question, and it kind of just gives you that AI overview at the top.
Just to do like one step back, a featured snippet is when Google decides that you are the authority on the subject matter. So if you type a question into Google and your website comes up with the answer, Google decided you are correct. You're the expertise. You're the authority.
And that's those little question tabs. Yep.
The question tabs, and then also position 0.
Yep.
And now what's happening is Google decide, let's one up it. Let's use AI now. So now when you are on your mobile device and you type in a question, you're going to get an accumulation of a multitude of websites collaborating all their information, and they're going to give you some really good answers from multiple sources. Now, what happens with that? Because TechWyse could be in part of that for a component, but now where do you click? Where do we get what are we getting from it? Is Google just getting something from it? Do we now need to think about our SEO a little bit harder to get you to pay to number 1, 2, 3, 4? Because the featured snippet used to be a prominent place to put your website. Now you're sharing it with a multiple group of websites.
And listeners should know that Google's generative engine is called Gemini, right?
Yeah, Gemini.
So that's when you see the overlay at the top of Google, they're using their own tool called Gemini, summarizing. And I think that is one of the concerns is, again, they are solving people's problems. People are happy, but for companies and businesses, there's no click now. A lot of people are getting their answer right away at the top of Google, no click. But that doesn't mean that it's not relevant. It just means it's tougher to measure.
It's super
harder to
helpful.
stand out.
Like the way I look at it is it's helpful for the user to get information, but also for businesses, it makes SEO even more important because you still want to be ranking on the first page, the second page. You want to improve your rankings because these new innovations with just AI, they're helpful for the user, but we as businesses also need to keep in mind, we still want to be present among the search engine.
And going back to the original topic, when we're talking about back in the early days, what I always say to clients, our biggest in this agency world, and every agency is going to tell you the exact same thing, is clients call you for SEO. But really, that's just the buzzword. That's what they know. What a business really wants is screen saturation. So when people go to Google, it used to just be like when we first started, it was just the honest to goodness SEO results, right? Yeah. Now you're fighting, you've got Google Ads in there, you've got the local places, you've got the overlay.
Lots going on.
There's so many, and when clients do call for SEO, they aren't necessarily, they think they're just asking for SEO, but what they're asking for is better screen saturation on Google. And by the way, where else can we go? What's this Meta thing? What's this Facebook thing? What can we do there? And that's where we're educating. And that's I think why it's important to understand I'm not even going to call it the transformation, but it is SEO and GEO becoming factors together as we move forward.
They're like sisters almost.
Well, some people say GEO is SEO evolved, right?
It's hyperlocal. That's the big difference is SEO it's there, it's the framework, but it's still GEO has to pull from somewhere, and that's where it's pulling from. But where GEO is really going to become huge is in personalization and localization. So
100% actually, you're completely right. When you look up any question and it's a Google AI overview, it depends where you are. So you're going to get different results based on your location, unless it's something that doesn't deal with like location-wise things. But for the most part, so far, it seems like if you're in Toronto, you're going to get different results than you would in Montreal. So, and that's even close by. So it's very localized, which is neat because now it depends where you're standing, the information, and that's different. That's not really the case most of the time.
It's a lot of very Ultron vision. It feels like it could teeter either way, right? And like utilizing these things ethically for good collaborative information. I would like to take a second to contrast a little, like ethically on the sides where it can go a little left when it comes to GEO. What are your concerns with that? Like, do you deal with that on a daily basis?
as someone who works super hard to get my clients to rank really well, I love the featured snippet. That was my favorite talking point. When I interviewed here at TechWyse, that was my like big pitch of talking about the thing I knew the most. So seeing the featured snippet like kind of grow into the Google AI overview, it's exciting. I like it, but I'm like, I miss the fact that I could showcase my client, showcase something I've worked on and have it be in that number 0 spot for everyone to see. It felt like such a reward when you make a blog and your blog is in that coveted spot. It makes you feel like you did your job correctly. The Google AI overview, that showcases it as well, but you're sharing the limelight. So like I said before, it just makes SEO so much more important because that number 1, 2, 3 place, getting on that first page, it's still necessary and it will remain being necessary. So with the fun part of GEO, I just think they're going to coexist. I don't think it's going to take over right away. What's going to take over is things like ChatGPT and DeepSeek that are going to start becoming platforms you go to seek information and get instant results. So we're going to have a bit of a competition here. We're going to have to evolve with the times, and it's going to be interesting to juggle all of it at once.
I mean, you can look at it like, as long as people are going to Google because they give the best experience. There was times before where what we did, or Google, they integrated Twitter all of a sudden. So Twitter, people want to see Twitter. So suddenly the most recent tweets for recency and relevancy
and trending, yeah.
There'd be YouTube, little listings with YouTube on them.
Yep.
So this is no different. This is just how can we give our audience the best response.
And also multiple options now, multiple things to work with, multiple things to learn. And that's where we're the people to do it. We're the people going to be figuring it out. So it's exciting. I like the idea of the advancement of AI. I just also like the comfort of knowing SEO.
Got a lot of friends that they don't even go to Google anymore. They just kind of type in their question on ChatGPT.
I do both, but you know what? Like you check Google.
That's exactly it. That's
where we're heading.
Yeah.
Okay.
But maybe Google will become that. And that would be helpful as well. Google is going to slowly transition that way as well. Google's in no way going to allow itself to become obsolete. I went to Google in person after hours in 2010, and that's pretty early. I was in Mountain View. I was going to school out there, and the coolest thing was to see where Google was, and it was impressive. Like, it was insane. I couldn't even imagine going on campus there now. There's no way that company will ever allow any of these other competitors to outshine them. They're in it for the long haul.
Well, and if they do, they'll get leapfrogged, right? But again, even right now with what we're just talking about, ChatGPT, very valid. That was my first question when I started seeing it. I'm like, well, I can go here for everything. But it also gives you only information that mines. Whereas when you go to Google, they've got AI, AI overlay. They've got paid ads, which are still good because it means people are paying to be there. So they're serious. We've got localized, and we have just the natural organic listings as well. So you get everything in one page. And there's still times where I'm typing things on ChatGPT or meta.ai, and the information isn't always right.
No, yeah, it's not always right. It actually will lie to you often.
Well, that's one of the biggest concerns, right? Is the fact checking aspect that, the threat that AI poses to that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to people listening, AI could be fun. You might think you can go on there and type a prompt in and get everything you want. You can't. You need to fact check that. You need to humanize it. You need to put your own love into it because you can't rely on it. But it does give you that nice essay in 1 second. But is it factual? Google could help you with that. Go research. Yeah,
it reads factually, but doesn't mean it is.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it makes sense either.
AI is not going to replace you. It's going to be a smarter person utilizing AI. But I also just, from my world of things too, just the way that, generative blogs and, the way that can muddy the water of things. A new recent development and something that, us at the social media department talk about is, and I think Gemini has a great tool for this, is generative podcasts. Now, you can fully just kind of send in a prompt, feed in some information, and then that gives you a 20, 30 minute, recording. And it sounds exactly like us, with breaths and inflections, and you wouldn't be able to distinguish the two. So,
and this is early days.
Yeah. We're still in the little inception of it.
And it's scary too. It's pretty good for what it is.
It's a little terrifying, but it's interesting too.
Are you saying that this might not even be us sitting here right now?
Wait, are we here actually in a room?
I think I'm in TechWyse right now.
Well, or how do they know?
Yeah, exactly.
How do they know, right? This could just be models of us How's my mouth moving?
It's definitely models for sure. 3 models without a doubt, but
Oh yes. Okay.
I need
You
to
digress.
modify mine a little bit. Make my hair a little sharper there. Okay, that was honestly just a wealth of knowledge. And I personally kind of feel like we have set up the next 10 episodes just based on what we were talking about here between AI and where that goes. And, you know, we always say here that the medium is the message. So what do you think the next mediums are when it comes to this AI, what we're talking about?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've mentioned screen saturation a lot. I think marketers, business owners, I feel like we just touched on this subject here today. I really think what we could literally be doing a full podcast on exactly just talking about where business owners and people should be looking in order to generate leads and where this is going to be going in the next 5 years, much like we've been talking about the transition from SEO to GEO and AI and all that stuff.
Oh, I see the producers behind the camera. They got something in the works there. They're cooking. Gears are turning behind the cameras
Right.
there.
I think we definitely have the next
I saw
10
a
lined up.
cloud move.
Yeah. Okay, guys, that was just a lot of great, useful, practical information. So I appreciate all your guys' insight on that. Just to wrap things up, what would you want the audience listening, their main takeaways to be from this conversation?
And from this conversation, I think a lot of people that are starting to hear the word GEO and relating it to SEO, they just want to know what does it mean in the future? We do typically manage, small business owners, marketing departments. This is just the natural evolution of SEO. It's about giving the user a better result, a more accurate result, and putting it all in one place. It's going to be here. One isn't going to replace the other. They're going to rely on each other. And it's really just all about relying on companies or your own internal knowledge on how to get found. Because I keep saying it, going back to the olden days, a law firm or a dentist would go and pay for a big 1 page on the yellow pages. Now it's doing it yourself for your company online, getting agencies like ours to look after you, or having the internal knowledge to do it yourself.
For me, I just want everyone to understand that AI is a crutch. You should always learn how to walk first before you use it, because it's an opportunity to assist and help, but it does not erase human effort. I think GEO is incredible. I use ChatGPT as an assistant throughout the entire day. I find so much value in it. I love the new Google AI overview. In fact, my last blog, I did an intro to Generative Engine Optimization. My blog that is coming up is a Google AI overview blog. We'll really dive deep into that there. And for me, I don't know. It's the best of both worlds. We should be focusing on both.
I wholeheartedly agree. We're also going to plug that article will be in the description of this if you're watching on YouTube. But thank you everybody for tuning in, whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, Apple. We really do appreciate it. This has been GetWyse, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming.